विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तो स्वामिनिति नामिने नामयो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तो स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पासतो देश तारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पासतो देश तारिणे जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनातीरा वनचारी जमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदो श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदो श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Srila Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mic is off.
Hare Krishna. Bye. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you. Nehamata, thank you so much. My mic was mute. Sorry. Okay.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes.
Last line, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Tell me.
Yes,
Last line,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Tell me. What was last line? Last line?
Yeah.
Jai Hare Krishna.
From here we have to start. Prabhupada seems
What?
special.
Okay.
Yes.
Shall I go? Ready?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Before I do, I have a little bit of announcement. I'm talking with the wife of Hari Sauri, and he was very enthusiastic to come into the reading today, but he had the TOVP meeting. But he said he's very glad to come next week. He's going to come next week for the reading. Hari Sauri, the author of the book. Is that a good news, right? Haribol.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
So, he may have, busy or whatever, but at least I know we got the commitment for next week. So you all can prepare a little bit of reception board, with some balloon or some greeting, welcome Prabhuji or whatever, if you want to do something, show your background like that. So we're going to start reading. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada seems especially enlivened from his translation work on the history of Prahlad. Many of his conversations graphically from powerful indictments of everything wrong with the modern world. The small child Prahlad's battle and victory against overwhelming odds by his full dependence on Krishna is a fit comparison to Prabhupada's own single-handed struggle against a world populated with extremely materialistic people. Interesting. Today's verse was from the 7th canto, 6th chapter, verse 9. Who is the person who is too much attached to household life on account of being unable to control the senses, who can liberate himself because he's bound up very strongly with the hope of affection for the family, namely wife, children, relatives, etc. After reading out the Sanskrit, Prabhupada recalled the morning conversation and explained the difference between the scientist's approach to life and that of a devotee. The materialists derive enjoyment from killing, not knowing that this only increases the problem. But the devotees solve all problems and attain happiness by cultivating detachment. He illustrated this by citing an incident from his early days of preaching in the West. The example are here. Although you are young boys and girls, you have given so much nonsense things. This is called vairagya, detachment. Meat eating is the general life of the Europeans and Americans, but at the present moment, if someone offers you millions of dollars and requests you that you take some meat with me, I think you deny. This is called vairagya. I have actually seen our Gagamuni was sent to his father and advising that your father has big business. Just take it for Krishna consciousness. So the father was very glad, but he offered meat. When Gagamuni said, Father, I cannot take meat, then the father became angry and drove him away. Hiranyakashipu father, so Gagamuni came back. The young man, father's property, he refused to take it. This is Vairagya, and the whole Krishna conscious movement means Vairagya Vidya, the education of detachment. He referred to Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswami as examples in recent history of learned and intelligent men who, after having achieved great things materially, practiced the art of detachment to attain the goal of life. Voluntarily accepting poverty, this is Indian civilization, this is Vedic civilization. Not to increase material opulence, but to decrease. The more you decrease, you are civilized. But the Western countries, if you instruct them to decrease these nonsense activities, they will say, oh, this is primitive. Primitive. This tendency is present, but actually the primitive civilization, not primitive, that is very sober civilization, instead of increasing unwanted necessities, decrease it. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. The next person, please. Who is next? Okay, I'll keep reading until somebody raise the hand. Then you can come in. Finally, Neha, you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, carry on.
Finally, Prabhupada nicely summed up the meaning of his spiritual movement and the opportunity he is presenting to us by the construction of Krishna Rama Mandir and guest house. For interested to construct a nice temple, interested to construct a very big 5 acre building, we should live very humbly. Vrindavan means everyone is engaged how to keep Krishna in comfort. This is Vrindavan, not for personal comfort. The whole Vrindavan is engaged, beginning from the Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the young gopis, and the young powered boy. That is Vrindavan. Krishna is the center. So the more we become engaged with the view to keep Krishna in a comfortable position, that is our aim of life. Then we can be liberated. Prabhupada's words are not impractical expression of idealism. They have the greatest impact because he himself is the very epitome of Brajvasi, a resident of the holy Dham. He lived for years in total poverty without any care except how to preach. He has built a grand temple, a guest house, an ashrama, and he is still preaching. He goes on expanding his energy for Krishna's comfort at the expense of his own, without exhibiting any attachment for sitting down in his respective quarters in comfortable retirement. Harikesha's article is taking shape, and he read it out this evening, enlivening Srila Prabhupada and instigating a lively conversation. Upada's idea is to show how everything has a single ultimate cause, life. Scientists look for life within chemicals but find none. If life is there, then the chemical acts and reacts in exact way for a purpose. So according to whose purpose? Understanding that is that should be the goal of knowledge. The moon is also one of Srila Prabhupada's favorite topics. According to the scientists, there is no light on the moon. And they say it is doubtful whether there is life for any other planet in our, life on any other planet in our solar system. Prabhupada argued that life is everywhere, on the moon, sun, and every other planet. He said that even on this planet, life can be seen everywhere, in water, air, and on land. This is the statement of Shastra. Living beings are not material, but spiritual, and exist in all conditions of matter. Further detail the progression of material development is described in the third canto of Bhagavatam. He explained how the individual elements come, one after another, in a systematic chain of cause and effect. Hare Krishna listened attentively in order to incorporate the added information into his work. First, there is sound. Prabhupada explained, and from sound, either ether is generated, then from either air. When there is friction in the air, then fire comes, electricity, when excessive heat is there, then water comes. It's like we see how immediately after the heat of the summer, the rain season comes. The water, earth comes. If we examine a drop of water, when it dries up, there is some small trace. All the elements have accompanying characteristics and attributes. In this way, by the influence of time, the elements are generated one after another. All the bodies of the living beings are made from these elements. So why not fire bodies? Cannot perceive. The effect is theirs, but they judge everything by their own standards of imperfection and advertise as knowledge. Anyone else want?
Okay, Goda.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my
Hi.
obeisances. December 12th, 1975. Am I audible? Clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Yeah. There is an old man with white hair and beard who recently moved into the ashram. When Prabhupada came out from his front porch to begin his work, all the devotees offered their obeisances except the old man. He was busy throwing water from a brass lota onto the tulsi plant in the small garden in front of Prabhupada's house. He was not very conscious of Srila Prabhupada's presence, and a few devotees felt he was being offensive. Prabhupada's mood was different. This is devotee, he said, turning to all of us. Just see how nicely he is watering the tulsi tree. You should all do this. Out on the road, Prabhupada's thoughts turned to last night's discussion on Harikesha's science article. He had Harikesha give a brief summary of the premise to his attentive audience. As a subdued but rising sun cast in its just a second. Yeah. As a subdued but rising sun cast its long shadows and steadily increased its fiery and brilliant effulgence, Prabhupada challenged that our own imperfectness leads us to think there is no life on the sun. He described how the Tata iron and steel works appear from a distance as a mass of flame, but that does not mean there are no people there. Similarly, the sun appears to our eyes as a ball of flame, but that does not mean there is no life. The discussion invigorated Prabhupada and enlivened the devotees, and the exchange continued throughout the walk. Early morning walking is a very popular form of exercise in a country where people habitually rise at dawn, and Prabhupada generally greets familiar faces each morning with Hare Krishna and Jaya. When a couple of local residents approached, he also drew them into the polemic, presenting his arguments using the example of the Tata Iron Factory. He solicited their opinions. He encouraged one of them to join in by referring to him as a Bora Bora scientist, a big scientist. After a minute's conversation, they also concluded that Shastra must be correct. Prabhupada explained that it ultimately comes down to what authority one follows. Scientists quote the findings of other scientists, and we quote the Bhagavad Gita. The real problem is that everyone thinks himself independent and ignores Krishna's statement, Vasudevah Sarvam Iti, that he is everything. To emphasize the foolishness of the materialistic mentality, Srila Prabhupada made a brilliantly funny imitation of a so-called independent man. He prefers to be controlled by the laws of nature instead of by Krishna. That is his misfortune. He is controlled, but he thinks I am free. That is ignorance. Mudha. Just like I am the state citizen, I am not free. I must work according to the state laws. I don't care for the government. That is my foolishness. You have to care. At home, I can say to my wife, I don't care for government. I don't care for police. But when there is crime, when the police come, then he says, oh, Srila Prabhupada made a sad face, making everyone laugh. Prabhupada continued, there is an example that the murgi, what do you call, chicken, the male? Someone answered cock. Yes. So when in the morning it is let loose, he says, I don't care for anyone. Cow. Okay. Then in the evening, when he is pushed into the nest, Prabhupada became very subdued and humble as he imitated. Cow, cow, whatever you like, you can do. Whatever you like, you can do. We all burst out laughing at Srila Prabhupada's comic impression. This is the example. You see, when he is under arrest, imitating a groveling manner. Now, sir, whatever you like, you can do with me. If you like, you can excuse me. Prabhupada laughed. And when he is out, then in a loud, boastful voice, I don't care for anyone. Murgi intelligence. I don't care for anyone. I am God. Murgi logic. हराव अभक्तस्य कुतो महद् गुणा मनोरथे रथेन नास्ति Dhavato Bahi. If one is not a devotee, his only business is to remain on the mental platform and concoct things. And at the end, he thinks, I am God. Concoction. If he is not a devotee, he has no good qualification. He is simply hovering on the mental platform. The 16th chapter describes it very nicely. I ventured thinking of a verse in Bhagavad Gita. Wait. Yes. Yes, pravarta cha nivarti cha jana na vidur asuraham. In which way we have to direct our activities, in which way we shall have to stop our activities, they do not know. Asura jana, because they don't take direction from God, they make their own way of speculation. Therefore, they are animals or demons because they do not take direction during life. Therefore, at the end, Krishna comes, Mrityuhu sarva harashchaham. All mental speculation, creation is taken away at death. In Bengal, it is said, Krishna naam koro vai ar sabe miche paleb path nai yama ache piche. Take to Krishna consciousness, don't try to escape, because behind you there is Yamraj. He will finish all your concoction. Hare Krishna Guruji, is there anyone to read further?
Mata Jantara.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yes. And next one can raise their hand, okay?
This is Prabhupada's last day in Vrindavana. Tomorrow he goes to Delhi for several days and then on to the Bombay. He gave his final lecture on Prahlada Maharaja's instruction in 7th canto, 6th chapter, verse 10. Money is so dear to one conceives that money is sweeter than honey. And who can give up the desire of accumulating such money, especially in household life? The thieves, the professional soldiers, and the mercantile community try to acquire money by risking the very life. He explained the foolishness of the materially attached persons. Everything that a person holds near and dear is, in fact, the very cause of his suffering. And to maintain his household, a person may take on all manner of dangerous occupations, even at the risk of death. This is all going on merely because of sexual urges. He pointed out that those who are Brahmanas never take up such a risky life, preferring instead to engage in the peaceful development of spiritual affairs and to live a simple life free from such desires. In that respect, he said that the hippie lifestyle of many Western youths was actually an advantage. It simply had to be directed properly. Therefore, I was saying these Europeans, American boys, they prefer to become hippies. That is another process of desirelessness. Don't want. They are coming from rich man's house, but they don't want. That is desireless, but it is not properly utilized. Now they have got this opportunity how to serve Krishna. Therefore, they are advancing so quickly. During his message, Prabhupada heard a letter from
Jaya Sachinandana Das.
Yashachinandana
Jaya Sachinan, yes.
Dasa in Los Angeles, written on behalf of a group of brahmacharis. In every ISKCON temple in the world, he assembled devotees. The assembled devotees offered their obeisances to the deities in the morning as the Govindam prayers loudly play. George Harrison recorded it, and Yamuna Dasi sings the mantras. Distributed by this custom, Jaya Sachinandana quoted Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura as well as Srila Prabhupada that if a brahmachari hears and is attracted to a woman singing, it is a subtle fall down. In light of this, he wrote, many of the brahmacharis approached the temple president to see if it would be possible that when the deities are greeted in the morning, that instead of listening to Guru Dasha Maharaja's former wife singing the Brahma Samhita prayers, we could listen to your divine grace rather than hear a woman sing. He did not want to change the tape because it had been a standard thing in ISKCON since 1970. So requested by many devotees, I am inquiring from your divine grace. If we could play a tape recording of you singing instead of a woman when the deities of Rukmini Dwarkadhisha are greeted in the morning, I am sure that all the devotees would be enlivened to hear you instead of electric guitars, the London Symphonic Orchestra, etc. etc. Srila Prabhupada was not pleased. He said that constantly charging things is our Western disease. His reply was short and direct. No, you have made some discovery. All along, you have been hearing the recording of Jamuna Dashi, and now you want to change. It is not ordinary singing, it is concert. Many people are singing, so it is not bad. Just like Shankirtana, many voices are there, men and women. So it is the same thing, Sankirtana. I approve of it. Here in the Krishna Balarama temple, we are hearing the same recording every morning. So uh, if it is good here, why not there? Shall I continue?
We can go to Tanush. You see how was those times? It
Yes,
was,
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat.
yes, please.
Every day since Prabhupada has been in Vrindavan, Bhagatji has been making chapatis for him. Prabhupada normally doesn't see anyone while he eats, but he makes an exception for Bhagatji, who brings the last chapati in himself. He then sits and chats with Prabhupada for 5 or 10 minutes before returning to his home. Today, Bhagatji came with a donation of 53,000 rupees in cash, given on behalf of his mother for the purchase of land for the Gurukul. A stone bearing her name as the donor will be placed on the land after its registration. It is a widespread tradition in India to give donations to religious institutions in the name of one's deceased relatives. Thus, they get both material and spiritual benefit in their new birth. Prabhupada is very happy and Bhagaji has come forward to help with management of the temple, and he looks to him as an experienced local who guides and train his Western disciples in the intricacies of Indian management. It's full of nothing. Prabhupada observed his normal program while we spent most of the day preparing for 3 months' travel. He will not be returning until the Gaur Purnima festival in March. We stored everything not required in his almirah and cupboard. While packing everything else to be ready for our early morning departure, we left his desk, paraphernalia, toiletries, and dictaphone. They will go in at the last minute. Next minute. New Delhi, December 13, 1975. Prabhupada likes to travel early in the morning at 6 a.m. He chanted Gayatri Mantra, donated his coat, gloves, and hat, and headed for the door. In a flurry of activity, Harikesa and I quickly packed last-minute items. Harikesa placed the dictaphone, the Bhagavatam, into a black attaché case. Meanwhile, I hesitantly filled Prabhupada's red Winley briefcase with his desk paraphernalia, a pen case, a golden straw for drinking coconut juice, a jar of ink, a small silver flask filled with cardamom seeds, his glasses, tilak clay, lota, mirror, mortar, and pastel, a small enameled tin full of snuff for his high blood pressure, and a black Revlon manicure case. Finally, I swiftly stuffed Srila Prabhupada's indoor slippers and the brass sputum engraved with his name into my shoulder bag and rushed to catch up. Before exiting, Prabhupada turned to the painting of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Saraswati Thakur, hanging on the wall. Hare Krishna, he said out loud, humbly touching his forehead to its base. Then he grasped his cane, slipped on his shoes, and swiftly walked out to the side gate amidst the clamor of the kirtan. Harikesa and I climbed into the car following Prabhupada's, and we sped off, leaving the shelter of the holy dham for the external parts of Krishna's kingdom. About halfway to Delhi, on a clear stretch of road, our driver suddenly stopped for no apparent reason. Shifting the aging ambassador's gear stick, he reversed back 100 yards, not heeding our questions as to what was going on. Then it became apparent. He stopped the car, opened his door, and dragged in the steel warm and slightly mangled body of a recent road victim, a dead rabbit. Tucking the rodent's carcass under his seat, he was about to start off again, but our loud and angry protest stopped him. It wasn't for us to question his eating habits, but there was no way we were going to allow him to keep his gruesome potluck rice in the same car. He sheepishly deposited it back on the roadway and sped off again in pursuit of Srila Prabhupada's car. Scone, 19 Floddermull Lane, Bengali Market, New Delhi. Today, Prabhupada talked informally with me for the first time. During his massage, as he relaxed and basked in the friendly sun, he looked out across the rooftops and suddenly asked, "So, you know our philosophy?" "Yes, Srila Prabhupada, at least I think so." "So, can you explain?" I was a little nervous at being directly questioned, but did my best. Everyone in the material world is suffering due to being in illusion, thinking that they are this body because the body is temporary. The happiness they get from it is temporary also. Actually, they are not this body, they are eternal servants of Krishna. Prabhupada immediately corrected me. "First of all, you tell them that they are spirit soul. Then later on, what is the function of the soul can be brought out." He seemed satisfied with my explanation, and I felt especially privileged to be personally tutored by in the basic ABCs of teaching. Even when no one wait, ma- Even when no one is around, Prabhupada's mind never deviates from his mission. He sees every occasion as an opportunity to teach Krishna consciousness, either personally or through his disciples. One great advantage of traveling with Srila Prabhupada is that you can get answers to doubts and questions very easily. I approached him today with one that has confused me just lately. Srila Prabhupada, I have been reading in the Nectar of Devotion that unless one has done devotional service in a previous life, it is not possible to take it up in this life. Also, in Bhagavad Gita, it states that if one takes up yoga but fails to reach the goal, Krishna still rewards that person with birth in a good family, wealth, intelligence, or good looks. So, how does that work? At least in my own case, I wasn't born in a good family. They are all just ordinary working class people, meat eaters with no idea of anything spiritual. Nor do I personally have any of the opulences mentioned in the Gita. Yet here I am doing devotional service. Srila Prabhupada smiled and immediately gave the answer. It is like Prahlad Maharaj. He did not become degraded by his birth in a demonic family. Rather, the family was glorified because of him. December 14th, 1975. Early this morning, Prabhupada walked his usual route past the Kalakendras and Bhavans. Fox crowd and occasionally a few cars and trucks passed by. Tejas Hansaduta Harikesa, Nayana Bhirama, and I kept close as he trod the littered streets. Nothing the dilapidated appearance of New Delhi. Prabhupada remarked with disapproval. If this is the capital, what does it indicate about the condition of the country? Prabhupada questioned the wisdom of pursuing economic advancement. Pointing to a tree, he challenged Harikesa, where does its food come from? Krishna is providing, but these rascals, they cannot understand. The animal have no arrangement for making industry, but nature's food is already there. They are not opening factories. Modern men claim to be more civilized, but they have simply complicated their activities by opening factories. Formerly, the sages took fruits from the trees and milk from the cows. Whatever nature supplied, that's all. Harikesas mockingly protested. But it's a lot of fun to drive fast cars and have sex and see movies. And this is fun, you know. It's the only way to enjoy. Prabhupada retorted, yes, enjoyment is there in the cats and dogs. When you enjoy sex in a palace or the dog enjoys sex on the street, the value is the same. This doesn't increase or decrease. But you are thinking to enjoy sex in big places, in big palaces, is advancement. This is your foolishness. Actually, sex enjoyment in the palace or on the street is the same. Harikesa made another pitch, speaking for the materialistics. But there is happiness of the senses when you have sex life. Happiness there is no not for the rascals, but for the intelligent. Happiness there is. Unless there is happiness, how we are seeking for happiness? Unless there is immortality, how we are speaking for immortality? There is. But the way in which we are speaking or we are seeking for these things, that is wrong. That is the whole education. Just like a foolish animal, he is seeking water from the desert because it appears that there is water. That is his foolishness. A human being, he knows that there is no water. It is all sand. That is the difference between animal and human being. To emphasize even further the effects of illusion and its result, Prabhupada told us two anecdotes of what it means to be an animal. A dog was carrying some bread in its mouth. Seeing its own reflection in a pool of water, it thought there was another dog carrying a piece of bread and immediately barked to challenge its imaginary competitor, hoping to gain more bread. Thus, it lost its bread in the water. Similarly, a lion was once tricked into thinking there was another lion within a well. He gave a roar, and roar came back. Thus he jumped into the well and lost his life. Although lions are fabulously strong, Prabhupada told us, in spite of us so much strength, he is an animal. Similarly, this modern civilization, in spite of so much so-called advancement, there are simply animals. A big animal is utilized by a small animal, that's all. Animal is animal, big animal or small. Prabhupada pointed out one of New Delhi's flea-bitten dogs sniffing in the gutter. The rest dog was homeless, scratching for food and suffering without a master. This is Sudra, he said. If anyone depends on the master's mercy, he is Sudra. Here in New Delhi, these big buildings, big officers, as soon as the government will sell, they will be street dogs, that's all. Now they are plundering by official instrument. So when the government will be finished, they will be street dog. This is your civilization. Immediately, if all of a sudden there is attack on New Delhi, all the people will starve. There is no food at home and they'll die. That's really important point. Harikesa responded that the government takes more and more and everybody gets poorer and poorer. Yes, Prabhupada replied. The government is also poor because they do not know how to govern. Buddhi yasya bala tasya. If one has got intelligence, he has got strength. Harikesa added, change of government means getting poorer. Just like they say, Prabhupada confirmed. A change of theories by the rascals. Change means rascal. Anything change means it is the domain of rascals. Pandemonium, just like in Manu Samhita, it is said that women should not given independence. One said that is fact. If you want to change, you suffer. That's all. I said any deviation from absolute law means immediate suffering. Prabhupada agreed. Bus, immediately you have to suffer. You are painting a pretty bleak picture, Harikesa said. Prabhupada didn't immediately catch his idiomatic expression, so Harikesa elaborated. The one you are painting of society and the future, there is no hope. No, Prabhupada said. Unless they take to Krishna consciousness, there is no hope. That's fact. There will be more chaotic condition and everyone will suffer and perish. Achinadara Dravina Yasyanti Viri Kananam. This is already predicted. I am not painting. It is already there. I am simply repeating. That's all. I am not a speculator. Actually, most of them are aware that they are in a very bad position. I added, everybody is expecting another war. Yes, just see. This is the capital of India. Just see the position. We can now understand. Prabhupada summarily observed an overloaded hand-drawn cart pulled by several dirty, poorly dressed, and barefoot men. Their veins bulged as they strained and sweated to get their load to its destination. Economic development, he mocked. Where is the economic development for these men? When there was no economic development, the same teller cart and poor people with black clothes were there. And now the same thing is still there. So where is development? Nature's law you cannot check. It must go on. Bhagavata says, don't try to improve all these things. It is not possible. Improve your Krishna consciousness. That will be benefited for your life. Keeping up a brisk pace, Prabhupada turned his attention to the Kala Kendras, noting their advert, advertisements for Magamela dances. He said they are simply encouraging illicit sex. Yet, if our men dance, they say we are crazy. He told Tejas that he should immediately hire some of the halls for a week at a time and present place kirtan and prasadam, 5 minutes talking and 10 minutes kirtan alternate. Tickets can be given and donations asked for because Naina Bhiram has had previous experience in art and drama. Prabhupada told him to arrange performances all over Delhi. He said that we won't require any big arrangement for living, but our propaganda will go on. Prabhupada seems certain that this program will attract thousands of people. Of course, he added with a touch of irony, I can suggest, but whatever you do, it is another thing. Walking back toward the temple, loud train whistles and increasingly noisy traffic signaled the awakening of the city. The conversation turned to another topic. Hansaduta told Prabhupada about the plight of a former GBC secretary, Syamasundar, an early recruit to the Krishna consciousness movement. He has fallen into considerable difficulty in a bad business deal, losing a large amount of the society's money. He is now selling jewelry to repay it, but neglecting his devotional life. Prabhupada, the ideal representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, compassionately remarked, no, he has done a mistake, so he wants to rectify it. He wants to bring money, but if the money is lost, it is lost. Let him come back. A life saved is more important than saving the money. So if I could know the address, then I could write. I wanted to write him a letter. Harikis and Sam Sundar told him that he wanted to make millions of dollars for Prabhupada so that he can make up for his mistake. Prabhupada responded with loving concern for his wayward disciple. Yes, and I am thinking when making millions of dollars, he may not be lost. I want one soul saved. That is more than millions of dollars. One reason for remaining in Delhi is it to see Pulsa- Pulsari Lal Nanda again in a follow-up to the earlier Kurukshetra trip. Nandaji arrived about midday while Prabhupada was taking his massage on the roof of number 9. Sitting on a chair as Prabhupada relaxed in his gamcha in the sun, he listened carefully while Prabhupada revealed his desires for Kurukshetra. Prabhupada first questioned Anandji to get as much free land as possible for us at Jyotisar. Prabhupada wants between 4 and 10 acres. As soon as that land is acquired, Prabhupada said he will immediately begin building a Krishna Arjun temple there. But he put him off for now about purchasing property at the Brahma Sarovar. After the rainy season, he said he would reappraise the land and decide whether to begin a project there. Nanji is eager for ISKCON to build a college at Brahm Sarovar as quickly as possible to train up young people. He began to confide how anxious he is about the atheistic influence of the USSR on the country and the present government's close relationship with the Soviets. But Prabhupada cut him off. India is in a state of official emergency, and many have been jailed for simply criticizing the government. We are not interested in politics, he said emphatically, only Krishna. Nandji politely took his leave, promising to pursue Prabhupada's request. During the afternoon darshan, there was lively discussion about how to preach effectively. Prabhupada challenged us to go beyond a mere parrot-like repetition and to come to the platform of genuine realization. He emphasized that people will be convinced of our philosophy only when we present everything with logic and sastra. Otherwise, they will simply be cheated by so many false yogis and swamis who misuse the Vedas for making money. Everyone else is presenting the impersonalist and Mayavadi idea, removing Krishna from the picture. He concluded, therefore, these rascals they have no clear understanding, and they are swamis, yogis, and avataras. It is a very dangerous position, very dangerous. We have to deal with all rascals and fools. And they have made some position. Of course, that position is nothing. Mr. Nanda is also big on this idea. Nirvisesya Sunyavadi. Still, we cannot change our position. We must go on with our conviction, and that is reality. So begin Kirtana.
Hare
Shall I
Krishna.
continue? Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
next one in the line,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
December 15, 1975. Bhagavad Das, an intelligent and talkative 25-year-old New Yorker, currently the Calcutta Temple president, passed through on his way to renew his visa in the West. He told Prabhupada that some astrologers and political experts are predicting a big war early in 1976 with China, Pakistan, and America against India and Russia. Prabhupada surged, saying that an atomic war will be short and severe. But war or not, he said, it makes no difference for us. A devotee doesn't care if he lives or dies. He always serves Krishna. We shall simply continue to do our duties, chant Hare Krishna. Bhagavat also asked if he could take sannyas. Prabhupada's response wasn't one of enthusiasm, but rather non-committal, never wanting to dampen anyone's enthusiasm for preaching. He tactfully agreed to consider Bhagavat for sannyas at next year's Gaura Purnima festival in Mayapur. Bhagavat is a portly, almost overweight fellow, and later Prabhupada told us that for sannyas one should be fit, not fat. Interviews with prospective Hindi translators are still going on, and His Divine Grace has already engaged a Mathura woman named Dr. Taliwal. Later this evening, Mr. Singh arrived and showed Prabhupada his PhD thesis, a lengthy treatise on Chaitanya Vaishnavism. Impressed with the man's work, Srila Prabhupada said he wanted to spend more time with him, examining the document and testing his ability to translate. This posed a dilemma. It was too late to do anything on the spot, and Prabhupada has to fly to Bombay first thing in the morning. Prabhupada asked Mr. Singh if he could come to Bombay. He was immediately agreeable, but he could not afford to buy a plane ticket. Prabhupada thought for a moment and then called in Hrishikesh and Dasa. So, what tickets do we have for Bombay? Well, there are four: yours, Hansuduta's, mine, and Sauri's. So give him his, Prabhupada said, without even a glance in my direction. Rikesh gave me a sympathetic smile and sighed. Within a moment, my ticket was handed over to Mr. Singh. The man happily left and Srila Prabhupada took rest. Next, chapter 4, Bombay, December 16, 1975. Delhi airport was filled with its usual bustle, and while Rasudut and Ritesh dealt with the baggage and other formalities, Sir Prabhupada sat calmly in the boarding area. As he waited, a friendly Bengali gentleman, Mr. Chaudhary, talked with him for some time. It pleased Prabhupada to discover that the man worked in the West Bengal Department of Development and Planning. Mr. Chaudhary spoke enthusiastically and appreciatively about Srila Prabhupada's worldwide missionary work. He offered to help in any way he could. So Prabhupada wrote down his name and address. At 6 a.m., the party, along with the PhD candidate, flew out. I booked myself on the next flight out at 10 a.m. I had a little money saved, just enough for the fare, and by midday I too was in Bombay. Hare Krishna Land, Juhu Beach, Bombay. Hare Krishna Land at Juhu Beach is only about half an hour drive from the airport. 6 rupees by taxi. The site is very impressive, situated in the heart of explosive Juhu. Only a minute from the beach, it covers more than 4 acres, with half a dozen three-storied apartment buildings spaciously dotted among the many swaying palm trees. It surprised me to find that the temple at the front of the land is merely a simple shelter, a small brick deity room and a darshana area barely large enough to hold 50 people. It is completely open on three sides, covered with a flimsy tin roof balanced on thin iron poles. Nevertheless, the worshipable deities Sri Radha Dasbihari are beautifully dressed and met- meticulously cared for, despite the inadequate facilities. I am surprised to discover that non-devotees occupy many apartments on our property, several of them even meat eaters. And Sri Prabhupada obtained the land, six occupied buildings were already there, and according to Indian law, their tenancies, tenancies cannot terminate. Devotees are gradually using those few flats vacated by former tenants. Sri Prabhupada has arranged to have the third floor built on the top of each building to provide living quarters for his disciples. That work has just been completed and the foundation is now being laid for the new temple complex. Some used materials left over from the Vrindavan temple construction have been tucked in. A devotee directed me to Srila Prabhupada's quarters in a building at the back of the land. After climbing several flights of steep, steep steps to the top floor, I entered the open room door at the same moment his divine grace entered from the other side. He had just taken his message. "Oh, so you are here," he said in mild surprise as I offered my obeisances. "All right, very good," he remarked, disappearing into the bathroom. Nitai appeared next. He had just given Prabhupada his message. "Oh, you are here. Okay, I don't mind. I'd rather develop the Gurukul in Vrindavan anyway." Then Harikesh came in, also surprised to see me. I found out later that when my ticket was handed over to Mr. Singh, everyone had considered my tenure with the party at an end. They assumed that Nitai would rejoin the party as Prabhupada's servant. Apparently, I was the only one who had not realized it. But Prabhupada was pleased that I came. He sent me to find Giriraj, the temple president, and instructed him to repay me the full cost of my airfare. He advised me that I should keep my own money for emergency uses. Yesterday,
Okay,
Prabhupada gave
Prabhu, Haribol,
uh,
we're going to have the next reader. Who is the next in line?
Prabhuji, I guess
Any
no
next
one
in
is.
line? Who is Aneha? Mat?
I guess no one is there.
You want to read?
Okay, I can read, but we are over the time, I guess.
We have 5 more minutes.
Okay,
Is that
Prabhuji,
okay
I'll
with
read.
you?
Yes, okay, I'll read.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, Prabhupada gave Hans Dutta permission to buy a bus and start a traveling Sankirtan party in India. He suggested that they carry Sri Sri Gauranitai in a box. Then, wherever they stop, they should take their lordship out, sit under a tree, and hold kirtan. Prabhupada assured him that many people would come afterward. Prasadam could be distributed and discord held. Do it immediately, Prabhupada told him enthusiastically. He went on to explain that he had planned to do this, but somehow I came to the West. It was Krishna's arrangement. Now the Americans are doing. Hans Dutta thus busied himself today investigating prices before both here and in Europe for a suitable vehicle. December 17th, 1975. It was a little chilly in this morning,
And while getting ready for the morning walk, Prabhupada noticed that I was shivering. I was wearing only a kurta. He called me into his room and gave me a lightly embroidered chadar. It has been given to him in Delhi and he had worn it a few times. I was surprised. It was indeed a special honor. His divine grace, thoughtfulness, and concern are completely endearing. Harikesha was also surprised, or perhaps shocked, would be more apt. When he saw it draped around my shoulders, he asked me, "Why are you wearing Prabhupada's chadar?" I didn't have anything warm to wear, so Prabhupada gave it to me, I explained. In an admonishing tone, he said, "There is standing rule that the servant should never ask the spiritual master for anything." But when I told him that Prabhupada had just given it to me without saying anything, he immediately softened. Appreciating Srila Prabhupada's kindness, I value his good advice nonetheless. Harikesha Prabhu is excellent association for me because of his complete dedication to pleasing Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada takes his walks around along a beach only half a mile from the temple. He leaves at 6:30 and returns an hour day later for a DT darshan. Dr. Patel usually meets him on the beach. He's short, stocky, and always barefoot. With a raucous laugh, Dr. Patel seems terribly full of himself. Nevertheless, he has developed an attraction for Prabhupada's association. He obviously holds Prabhupada in great respect, although it isn't always the humble and submissive sort that the devotees cultivate. He knows some Sanskrit and has studied Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. This makes for lively conversation on both topical and philosophical matters. Dr. Patel is known among the devotees for expressing strong and generally tainted opinions, although he cushions them with good humor, ultimately agreeing with Srila Prabhupada, pure and unbiased spiritual wisdom. This morning, they talked briefly about human civilization. Dr. Patel blamed the spoiling modern civilization on the atheist communist philosopher Marx, Hegel, and Engels. Srila Prabhupada didn't agree. Everyone is manufacturing his own ideas. He said, including Indian leaders like Mohandas Gandhi and others. But if people take to the movement of Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the country will change for the better overnight. As a small group walked along, the Arabian Sea's wave mildly lapped at our feet. By 7 o'clock, hundreds of people were walking and exercising up and down the flat, sandy shore. Occasional sounds of jet boomed overhead as planes arrived and departed from the nearby Santa Cruz airport. Various vendors gradually set up along the hotel fronts, selling dubs, green coconut, tea, beedies, and light. Several gentlemen came forward to offer their pranamas to Prabhupada. He responded with Hare Krishna Jaya. Dr. Patel introduced one such admirer as renowned poet from Dwarika. His name was Bethai, meaning coming from the Dwarika bed. Dr. Patel mentioned that Mr. Bethai only wrote poems about God. Prabhupada good-naturedly quoted a Bengali poem that wherever one finds himself, he should neither perform religious acts nor sinful ones. He should simply always remember the lotus feet of Krishna. This prompted Dr. Patel to voice a complaint about how pujaris dress the temple deities. Sir Lotus feet. These people are actually putting such a long varga dress that I'm trying to see the lotus feet of God here. Arka Vigraha. Well, I am unable. Instruct them to put up the Varga a little so that we can have darshan of his sacred feet. Please tell them two long Vargas. You simply can't see anything. Giriraja patiently explained that the deity's feet can always be seen throughout the day. But when they wear their night clothes, their feet are not visible. Since Dr. Patel only comes early in the morning, while the ladies are still in their night outfit, he never gets to see Krishna's feet. There seems to be mild acrimony in Dr. Patel's dealing with devotees. He behaves as if he ought to be given some special entitlement by us as a learned and elderly person. As he tries to play off his relationship with Srila Prabhupada to extract some special attention, at any rate, in this instant, Prabhupada didn't take the matter too seriously. His mind was working in a different way. Whether the Lord's feet were visible or not, he was content that after the long hard struggle to Hare Krishna uh, establish the temple on Hare Krishna land, their lordship were still with us. Prabhupada response to Dr. Patel's complaint was thus full of gratitude and appreciation. How he, Krishna, sat tight to call everyone to come and see. the municipality came to drive him away. For several years, Prabhupada has fought on Sri Radha Rasa Bihari's behalf. The previous owner tried to cheat Prabhupada of the land, while the municipality has presented several objections to establish a temple. At one time, they had even half demolished the deity's temporary shelter. They burned the roof support poles with oxyacetylene torches and carried the protesting devotees off in a police truck. They even went so far as to being ripping off the deity's room roof, with Sri Radha Ras Bihari still inside. Only a last second intervention by a few favorable people in local government prevented the total destruction. Returning to the temple, we observed the regular program of greeting their lordship, Guru Puja, and class. Then Prabhupada retired to his quarters for the day.
For the day. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm gonna thank you, Neha. Thank you so much. I want to make the announcement again that Hari Sauri, the author of the book, he wants to come today, but he has a TOVP meeting, so he couldn't come. But he said definitely will come next week. So we all prepare some kind of a greeting, some board behind, Hari Sauri, welcome, that kind of thing. And let's see. Let's see, it's coming. It'll be nice. We can ask some questions about the book and everything. Okay. Thank you so much, you all. And I want to tell you that I don't know if he's going to tell about this Bombay problem. It was a big thing. Actually, it's very heavy for a long period of time. They really tried to run the devotees away from the Bombay temple, and the devotees fought tooth and nail to keep the temple in there. It was a big thing. So anyway, thank you so much, you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Nectar, huh? This is a good nectar, okay? Hare Krishna. So I'm leaving. Let me see, there's some. What is this?